Here we go. Live and direct. Chris Jenkins, credential member of the media, covering the Carolina Panthers for CharlotteVibe.com. Hey, good evening. Today is Sunday, August the 23rd, and we have your Carolina Panthers report. I got a lot of stuff on my mind. We'll be talking to you all about football-wise, business-wise, about figuring out how exactly am I going to cover this Carolina Panthers team during this pandemic. There's things that are so different from a media perspective that has me kind of rattling my brain trying to figure out how to best bring you all content that I have been doing over the years. Mainly, a lot of people, and I'm known for it, and people enjoy the one-on-one player interviews and being able to talk directly to the players and get you all the information. That's not been the thing that I've been able to do this season because I'm not even allowed to go to every single practice. So I'm telling you all this just because, again, I always like to talk to my audience, my members as friends. So I'm really trying to figure that piece out on how I'm going to approach this season. So if you all have ideas for what you would like to see, what you would like to do, let me know. And by far, I always want to hear your questions that you want me to ask players. Can't say how many players I get a chance to talk to this year, but certainly if you have questions about or for coaches, and I'm sure as we get a little bit more into the season, then the questions will become more specific. But nevertheless, I'm about to get into this. But again, any ideas I've thought about maybe on game days, if I'm not one of the media that's allowed to be at the stadium, should I do the whole game live and kind of watch it with you guys? There's still things that I couldn't say that's a part of the media. Like I couldn't watch the game with you guys on Sunday live and talk about any plays as they go or give score updates because it's considered play-by-play, which media is forbidden to do. Thought about making sure I do like a weekly show with question and answer. That would be like every set day and set time. Excuse me, I don't know why my voice always changes. But I just don't know how that works into my personal life. But really, I want suggestions and comments on that. Let me go ahead and get into things so that you guys and girls just don't hear my rambling. What's up, Tyrone Green, first person to sign on. I appreciate you. B. Evans, always in here. Ethan Points, Taylor Styles. Appreciate everybody very much. Any news is good news. I appreciate any news is good, but I'm really trying to figure out how I can bring you all behind the scenes things and player content like I used to do, which I love to do, without having that much access to the players. And the big thing is I'm able to get players interviews and other things that you've seen over the years because I can be in the locker room and I can talk to these guys. I can say, hey, Teddy, blah, 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 I'm Chris Jenkins with Charlotte Vibe, blah, 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 will you do this? And he's like, I don't know, come back to me next week. Next week, go talk to Teddy. Using Teddy as an example, I have not spoken one word to Teddy. And say, hey, let's do X, Y, Z. We do these Zoom calls now, and I can't have that kind of personal conversation with any player to be able to get to do other things. But anyway, let me go on, get into this, and I'll read some more comments. Michael Lee, hey, what it do, man? What's going on, Michael Lee? Ethan, big plays during the game, big plays during camp recaps, news on standout players at this point. Those are the main things I'm looking for. Okay. I get that. I may have to go to a more traditional news type coverage with this, which is playing some video highlights and then talking over them and giving my perspective and analysis on those. So we're just going to have to see for sure. Obviously, I'm struggling with it. I just want to let you all know about the struggle that I have in covering the team. Last week I got to go to one practice and, I was excited that I could talk to you all about things that I actually see at practice. And I haven't been able to go since, and I don't know when I'm going to get to go this week. We're usually, at least on my side where I'm at, I'm able to know literally a day ahead of time which practice I'm able to go to, see what's going on. Anyway, let's go ahead and go into this. Enough of my talking. Injuries and transactions. Let's go through a few of those because there have been some that have taken place since I have last spoken with everybody. They have signed Julian Stanford, a linebacker. We have waived two people. One is linebacker David Reese, another one is Jordan Scarlett. Those are some recent transactions. And then let me go to some other notes here that I have about, I wonder why they let Jordan go too. I have to, and again, I'm not going to vent the whole time, but if I was able to be in the locker room, I feel like I could get a little bit more oomph to the information that I share. But I don't have the details on why Jordan Scarlett got let go. You heard Teddy doesn't care for locker room music. Any truth to that? You know what? I'm going to put that as a future question for Teddy Bridgewater. See, now y'all feel me. Giving me the questions that you have allows me to work for you guys, which is what I like to brag about doing. I'm going to make this note about Teddy Bridgewater and the locker room music. So I see if I can get that. Locker room music. All right. Other things, Seth Roberts is currently in the concussion protocol. So Saturday. I'm getting my days mixed up. Was it Friday? Today's Sunday. Yes, Friday, Carolina Panthers had a simulated practice. And they held it inside of the stadium, simulated practice, simulated type scrimmage. They held it inside the Bank of America Stadium. So what Coach Rule is trying to do as much as he can is to simulate some real world scenarios. And they would have had a game by now. They would have played Jacksonville and maybe even a second game. But as it stands, they've had no games. They've had no scrimmages. They've had no preseason games. And he's trying to get his team ready and prepared for it. So they had a scrimmage in Bank of America Stadium. A lot of players, their first time getting on that field and being able to practice. Rule himself says he doesn't know what the season's going to look like, whether there's going to be fans in the stadium or not in the stadium. So they have music that's playing, which same thing they do during the regular season. It's music and things can play up to 20 seconds before the ball is snapped or the play clock gets down. So they're simulating that. And he says that he feels like that teams that are able to have that self-motivation, have that self-drive, have that self-grit to them will be able to have an advantage because they don't know if fans are going to be there or not. But if you don't, then teams that are able to come from within and get that energy could have an advantage over the teams that's dependent on that or hadn't yet got used to the fact that there are no fans in the stadium. I think that will be a big difference for players. Certainly, I believe there's a point that once the ball is snapped, that you hone in. And I think once the ball is snapped, that everything will be equal in terms of these guys ignoring fans or not. But I feel like the bigger part is after that play, then you could have the crowd really help you get back into a game or help, which is probably the more important thing, because if you're doing good, you're probably just going to keep rolling. But if you're trying to get back, if the game's kind of just been back and forth even, and then you suddenly do something that starts to give you a little bit of advantage, having 90,000, or in Bank of America's case, 70-something thousand people cheering you on does help a lot when you have that. So he's trying to simulate things to do that. He's also right now has been doing things to try to continue to help this team bond and to continue to make this process fun. He had a very good story, which I liked hearing, which was my son is calling me, even though I just told him I was about to do this video. But during normal mini camps, training camps, they're able to go through stuff like having food trucks, having movie nights, going places and doing different activities to continue to help team build. And with COVID, it's, I got a lot more COVID stuff to talk about, but it's really changing how they can do these fun things with the team. So after the scrimmage, they had some fun stuff where they had J.J. Jansen try to, from 10 yards out, snap the ball and hit any part of the uprights, and he was able to do so. They had the punter try to kick the ball into the upper deck, and he wasn't able to do that. And then he also had Joey Sly try to kick a field goal between the uprights from the sidelines, and they were able to do that. So, I'm beginning to learn a lot more about Matt Rule, and everybody's talked about him being a player's coach and how fun he is and how creative he is, and I see that. I really do. I can definitely now start to report that I really like the culture that Matt Rule could bring. I think I looked it up the other day and looked at his contract and said, man, this guy's getting paid buku money. And I still think his biggest challenge is going to be like you have new coaches, you're a new coach, you have new players, you have a lot of new personnel. I really think this first year is going to be tough for Matt, but I feel like there's hope for this first year. Might be tough, but it will be promising because he's doing things that has, once you hear about it, you're like, that makes sense. I like that. I like that. Even with this coaching staff, he had to have had a really good talk with all of his coaching staff saying, hey, if you, sorry, I just saw here and you guys said buffering. So make sure you check on your end. I haven't got a lot of reports of people saying that I am buffering, so I think I'm still good. But if more than one person says that, then I will try to look into possible buffering. But everything says that my connection's good. But Matt Rule also reading the comments about the buffer. But Matt Rule, his coaching staff really had to buy into this program and his mentality. And I'm sure they had to share this with them. Like I've heard about, and I'm sure you guys have too at this point, how he'll get coaches to get involved in drills or get coaches to get involved in conditioning. And he wants everybody to see that it's not players against coaches. We're all one. We're all trying to make this thing work. So we're going to grind it out because we're all going to work hard around here. He said that he had the coaches, again, participate in drills and, in conditioning. And then he even had those coaches run extra. I forget exactly what he said, but he had the coaches run extra, which he said he knew a lot of them were surprised about it. And I'm just thinking, if I'm a player and I hear the coach say, hey, we're all in this together. We're all gonna watch tape. We're all gonna put in extra hours. We're all gonna have grit. We're all sacrificing time for our family. You're of course thinking like, yeah, you're just telling me what to do, but you're not doing it. Seeing coaches get involved in some conditioning up to this point, you start to buy into it. But when you see the head coach tell the other coaches to run even more, to do extras, you gotta, I think you can't help but buy into the effort that he wants, the grit that he wants, that we're all in this together type thing. And so I get excited about that. So before I continue through, let me see, I got some comments here I want to interact with you all. Seeing Newton dancing at the Pats makes me sad. Yeah, I mentioned before, it took some getting used to not having Cam Newton when you hear all the music going out there, not yelling and yapping and running around. So I feel you there, Tyler, on that one. Taylor, I wonder, will Teddy use the Saints playbook? I'm quite sure that once they get to that point of playing the Saints, that he's going to lend as much as information as he can, but he right now certainly has his work cut out for him trying to get this Carolina Panthers playbook down. And Coach Rule shared that he's even put the playbook into Madden as much as he can, and he's been using that in the quarterback's room to try to dissect things and teach the other quarterbacks about what's going on and just continue to get familiar with this offense. So that's pretty cool. I'm not familiar with Madden, but if you can put plays in there, which actually I think I do remember, so that's pretty cool. What's up, Josh? Taylor, one question. Did Panthers slightly change the pants part of their uniforms, or was that just practice? I haven't seen their pants. All sports teams are really altering their uniforms a lot because fans love it. It's cool. It's something cool to do. I do know that he's sectioned off, color coordinated, if you will, starters versus other second and third team types of deals. So, but I don't know, Taylor, exactly about the pants. Ethan asked, did you see Matt Rule take turn running through tackle drills the other day? Yeah, Ethan. So you're gonna have me harping on the fact that all media is not allowed at the practices daily. There is a tier of media that is allowed there daily, which is not me, unfortunately. So I did not see that to report on that. Let me continue to go through a few more things, observations from talking with Coach Rule. And again, I do want to emphasize that though, though I will not be able to attend every practice, all media right now has to interact with players courtesy or via Zoom. And I do have the opportunity to be on all those Zoom meetings with players and coaches. So I will be able to ask questions directly. So please, please continue to feed me those questions. I will ask and report those questions, those answers to those questions back to you all. So takeaways from that scrimmage, Rule did like that the ball security was improved on the offensive side during that first time they did this last week. He wasn't too pleased. I think they had 3 turnovers. You know, he says you're happy when you see that on one side because that tells you that the defense is doing good, but you're not so happy because you feel like your offense is doing bad. And he said when they scrimmaged recently, it really was the offense at one time shining, then it was the defense at one time shining. He said actually that's something that from a coaching standpoint is a little bit more enlightening to see, because at that point you feel like both sides are doing well and both sides are kind of getting to where they need to be, and you're not seeing one side have heavy dominance or victory over the other side. He's also really been liking Zach Kerr, Marquise Haynes, F.A. Abada. Those were some of the guys that he mentioned, Jermaine Carter. But he did say his unsung hero, ready? Drum roll. Unsung hero so far for him was Justin Burris. And from Justin, he says he's the type of guy that he wants to build this team full of guys like Justin. Now, of course, you got prototypical guys like Christian McCaffrey, Shaq Thompson, which he talks about a lot. But he says this team, he feels, has the upper tier talent that is needed, has the upper tier talent to have leaders on both sides of the ball. And now he needs to fill his team up with gritty guys that wants to be on this team, that wants to say, hey, yeah, I got a role on special teams, but let's try to, let's see if I can't make an impression and get in on the offense or the defense. Nothing wrong with making this team a special teams, but let's continue to try to push ourselves and get even better. So that was his standout guy. He also mentioned Mike Davis has had a great camp, and I was able to comment on my observations of Mike Davis the other day when I was able to attend. And he certainly seems like a complimentary back in terms of being able to be on the field and have some, more than 1 or 2 snaps or plays, I should say. I don't think any running back had more than 1 or 2 snaps from Christian last year. And furthermore, about that scrimmage that they had the other day, they're treating it like a game. So this coming Monday, tomorrow, this video is recorded on Sunday, they're going to review that scrimmage and dissect it just like they would a game to grade the players and continue to kind of get some routine going for the team. And that's pretty much all that I have for you all from now. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Let me just go to my screens here. Give me just a second. Make sure I've addressed any and all questions, as I love to do. Just reading some of the comments. Fortunately, most of the players treat me very, very well, which again is why I'm missing being in the locker room. So, this COVID thing is definitely shaping a new world while we deal with it. So I appreciate all the patience that you all can have as I try to figure out my coverage for this upcoming season with COVID. Was talking with the team just tonight, PR staff, about what the future may look like for home games and away games. They still don't know. So I'm just going to have to brainstorm a few scenarios coming up. And also, who knows what it's going to be like. I know the NFL today reported that 10 teams were affected by false positives for the COVID testing. 10 teams, which is quite a bit. Almost, that's a third of the NFL. And it's all from this one lab in New Jersey. And a lot of teams, when they first got this information, they had some players sitting out Saturday. I know the Pittsburgh Steelers were one of those teams. So I don't know what the season's going to look like, and you're waiting to see how they're going to determine what exactly happened with this, with the handling of the test for the current situation with practices in this laboratory in New Jersey. So I'll continue to report on that. That is all that I have for now. Hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications so you can be sure to go live when I do. Like button also helps other Panthers fans find out about me. And please, let's start getting busy in the comments. Let me know what you want to see. Let me know your ideas for coverage. I work for you, and I mean that. So let's interact. Make sure you enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and I'll see you tomorrow. Chris Jenkins for Charlotte Vibe.